6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered cause the queen get it off. Unity is for the black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, a role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.
Shelby's World Podcast.
Each and every Wednesday, SW Live. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's happening, y'all? What's happening, my people? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, y'all. This is my Friday from work, but it's Wednesday for y'all, people who still got to go to work. So happy Wednesday, y'all. I'm happy to be off for a couple of days. I just want to woosah about that for a minute. Whew. Welcome to SW Live. It's July 1st in the building, y'all. We have skimmed through June. June went by so fast. So fast, y'all. For everybody who was celebrating birthdays in June, I hope y'all had the best time of y'all life. I hope y'all did everything y'all wanted to do because that month zoomed by. I mean, it sped through. It was just like, hello, goodbye. But we are in July. Welcome. We're going to start off today with our quote of the day. And I hope all y'all feeling good. First of all, let me say that I hope everybody feeling good. I hope y'all feeling great. I hope life is doing y'all good, you know, even in the midst of the times that are going on. And included in those times is the heat, baby, because it's hot outside. My goodness. It's hot outside, y'all. It really is. So I just hope y'all staying juiced up with that water. Don't play with it. Don't be out there trying to drink all that sugar, them sodas. You know, put some water in your system too. You're gonna need that. You gotta stay hydrated. You gotta do what you're supposed to do. So, quote of the day: integrity is not a conditional word. It doesn't blow in the wind or change with the weather. You either got it or you don't. There's no if, ands, or in between with that one. And you need to, and it's something that you are already founded in. You don't have to be reminded of integrity. It's really like you either got it or you don't. Just like like certain talents, you either got the talent or you don't have the talent. Everything isn't for you. So with that being said, quote of the day: integrity is not just a conditional word. It doesn't blow in the wind or change with the weather. So everybody who does things based on conditions, you are not a person that really stands strong on integrity in certain situations, because it's not a conditional word. It's not a conditional word. It's just not. You're either going to be a person that stands on who you are, stands on what you believe in, cannot be swayed, cannot be manipulated. All of those words. You either can not be that or you can be that. Okay? So that's how that quote kind of works for us. Now, we're going to jump into this conversation today because we're talking about conditional versus unconditional. And it's not just the factions of love with that, but we do correlate conditional and unconditional with love a lot. But that's a good standard. It's not anything wrong with that. But there are other things that you have to stand on conditions and unconditional things about. You have to, like, when you have boundaries and limits and you have standards, you have to be forthright in what you stand on. You can't be one of those people who can be swayed, because then something can change how you operate. It changes your morals if you can be swayed. It does change your integrity. You know, that thing that's not conditional, it can change, and then your whole face will show who you really are. But if you're still learning that, it's still a step-by-step process when you're talking about dealing with conditions and boundaries and all of those things. So unconditional means absolute and without limitations, while conditional depends on specific requirements or circumstances. So, really quick example of condition. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. That's a condition. It's a concession. If you do this for me, this is what will happen for you. Those are conditions. Unconditional is, it don't matter how many times you do this for me, I'm going to always do that for you. Two different ways to look at it. Two different meanings, two different breakdowns. So unconditional means absolute and without limitations, while conditional means and depends on specific requirements and circumstances. So let's use love for an example. If you are in a relationship and someone gives you stipulations to how they're going to love you, that is conditional love. That means that they can turn that faucet off any day if you do not operate in their conditions. Unconditional love, we know they're not limitations in anything. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't boundaries set in unconditional love. It just means that I know what my boundaries are, but for you, it doesn't mean that I'll stop doing things for you. I may forever love you, even through those boundaries, but the love is still prevalent. That conditional love is going to definitely disappear when you piss somebody off, when you don't do for somebody what they want you to do for them. It's just too many things that fall in the line of conditions with love. So you have to be very strategic in who you're dealing with and who you're dating and loving from the beginning so that you can be comfortable in y'all relationship. So setting that tone up front about what type of person you are. If your love is based on conditions, if you gonna break up with me if I don't do this, or are you gonna not do things for me that I ask if I haven't done this? Like if things like that are occurring, baby, you need to go ahead and just tap out now, because those, not only is it a red flag, but it's going to piss you off. You're gonna think that you're strong enough to be able to deal with the bullshit from the beginning, and then you're gonna get further into the relationship and you're going to be miserable. So when a person shows you that they have conditional love for you, don't turn your back on that. All right. So unconditional refers to something absolute as stated without conditions, limitations, or reservations. It is not influenced by external factors and applies universally in its context. For example, an unconditional offer from a university guarantees a place regardless of pending requirements, or unconditional love is given without expecting anything in return. So those are the full breakdowns of how we're going to talk about unconditional. As far as conditional, we're going to refer to something depending on specific condition or requirement. Its validity or occurrence is contingent on certain criteria being met. For instance, a conditional offer from a university requires meeting exam results or other criteria, and conditional love depends on meeting expectations or behaviors. So both of those have been broken down for you as to how you can be in an unconditional situation, you can have an unconditional offer, or you can have a conditional situation within a conditional offer. They have stipulations. Examples in different contexts. If you're talking about grammar and logic, conditional sentences express a situation that depends on a condition. If it rains, we will stay inside. That's an example of that. Another example of conditional grammar will fall into the line of, I'll give you a bonus if you meet your sales target. That means there's a stipulation. You have to do this to get this. Okay. Programming. Conditional instructions execute only if a condition is true. such as if or while statements. So while this may have happened, this may not have occurred because of that. Or while this may have happened, this occurred because of that. So when you're in certain contexts, the conditions are for those particular reasons to express certain things. That's when conditions matter, when you're expressing yourself in your work relationships, your personal relationships, your friendships, your family stuff. You got to be able to speak with authority in your conditions. You got to even be able to speak with authority in your unconditions. You got to be able to speak with authority when it comes to you. Okay, education. Well, let me say this for programming for unconditional. Unconditional instructions execute regardless of any condition. So your job may say, it doesn't matter what happens, we're not closing the store until 9 p.m. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, thunderstorms, earthquakes, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're going to keep the store open until 9. Education. Admission depends on meeting certain requirements like exams and scores. That's a conditional offer. Your unconditional offer is admission is guaranteed, though minor administrative steps may remain. So you can still have been accepted, but there's still unconditional things that you still have to do. In conditions, if you don't do this or you don't do that, you ain't coming. You got to get it done. They're not asking you to think about it and say you can bring it in when you come and check in for class. They're telling you you must have it before you can even think about coming in to check in for class. In your relationships, conditional love. Affection depends on behavior or meeting expectations. I love you if you make me happy. A condition. Unconditional love. Affection is constant and independent of actions. I love you for who you are. How many people really believe that people love people for who they are? Like, is that like true for a lot of people? Because you don't hear people say that, but then when a person starts showing who they are, next thing you know, they're single. That's why I said show it from up front. So when they say that they have unconditional love for you, they have unconditional love for the person, the real you, not that facade, not that dating representative that you sent there to meet them on the first date. Because by the 10th day, y'all in a relationship, I'm sure. So by then, you should be breaking barriers to show this person who you really are. So if something comes up in a matter and you don't know how to deal with it, they'll know that you have no experience in that area, that you just dumb as a box of rocks. It's just things you got to talk about so that people not saying that they have unconditional love for you, it's not like they lying when they break up with you because you lied. Be honest. The person who they're going to have unconditional love for is the person that you're showing them every single day. If you change up on them, of course they're going to be like, man, what's wrong with you? What's happening? I don't know, because I don't think people realize that. I don't think people realize that how people get under stress and emotions matter. When you in a relationship, it's going to change how you act. It's going to change how your conditions work with that person. It's going to change on whether or not you feel that this was a red flag. Isn't a red flag before, but now you showing me all the red flags. Like, we got to be serious with people and be upfront about stuff like that, because now I'm over here done fell in love with you unconditionally based on a lie. Be honest with people. So yeah, those examples are examples of people who have their conditions in certain situations that have conditions, and things that have unconditions. So and when certain offers come, like even with school stuff, when they tell you that you have been accepted into a university, it's accepted based on the fact that you're going to meet a certain criteria to do it. So you got to at least, if they tell you that you got to have this, and this done, if you don't have it by the time certain dates and cutoffs and when you have to start the class, your situation may be null and void, or you may have to fight a little harder to get in there now just because you didn't meet certain criteria. So certain conditions are needed. They have to be in place. Certain conditions have to let us know that there are rules and time frames that we got to get stuff done. Otherwise, we'll be sitting up here just lollygagging, doing everything on our own time. Free will, free base, free everything, So do think when you're focusing on anything conditional, always think about the fact that this can change at any moment based on how I do what I'm supposed to do. Yes, I could have been offered this position, but the quota has to be met. Yes, I was supposed to do this within the first 3 weeks, and I didn't. Now they don't believe that you're going to get it done. You out the door. It's things that they're going to be criterias and conditional things. So as we lean over into the criteria in conditional, unconditional love, how y'all date people who got conditional love for y'all? I'm real interested in knowing that, because I'm seeing people in relationships that have conditional love, family have conditional love, partners have conditional love, parents have conditional love, children have conditional love. Shit changes, stuff shifts. How do you deal with someone who can love you on a condition, based on conditions? How is that helping or not helping you in your relationships? How are you maneuvering through it if it's happening? Because a lot of us don't realize that we are walking in situations on a day-to-day basis that is based on conditions in our relationships. Some people walking on eggshells trying to hold it together because they know if they get this wrong one more time, this might end. This might stop. To me, it sounds like if conditions have to play a part in a relationship, then people have an insecurity. Now, there are certain things that I'll say conditions have to exist in relationships. Like, you may be like, there's no cheating. That shouldn't even be we got to discuss that. But sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Because you might be messing with somebody who was always cheating. I don't know why you would want to, but it could happen. So certain conditions do have to be discussed in relationships. You got to talk about how you are with your finances. You got to talk about what you accept when it comes to certain finances. So certain conditions need to be discussed. You can't say there can't be conditions in relationships. Now, there cannot be conditional love. You can have your conditions set out, your boundaries set out, things that you know that you don't play about, your money, your goals, your lifestyle, all those things that you don't play about. Yes, put those conditions on the table. Talk about those things up front. But if your love is shifty based on those conditions, if the persons you're dating or in a relationship, love shifts based on those conditions, y'all in a conditional relationship. Having your boundaries is a total different thing than being in an unconditional love. I love you no matter what. Love is given without conditions. So, and another thing too, the red flags in a relationship are not supposed to just be ignored just because you say you got unconditional love, right? Nobody is saying be a fool in your relationships. Nobody is saying get ran over. Nobody is saying just let anything happen. Please don't. Because I know a lot of times when people listen to stuff, they'll pull little pieces out of stuff and then and implement those little pieces without all the other pieces that go with it. Now you sitting over here saying, well, I heard I was supposed to do it this way and this way, but I know that chicken came with some potatoes now. The food ain't just come without the meat. Come on, let's be serious. Let's be serious. You cannot allow the red flags to happen just because you have a whole lot of love for somebody. Now that's ultimately is going to make you crazy. It's going to run your blood pressure up. It's going to send you through crazy phases. I don't know if people crashing out more about it, but I'm seeing more and more people feelings getting hurt and their emotions being torn apart and they crashing out. So y'all got to think about that when you're talking about playing with people in love and in relationships. Somebody that gave their heart to you and they're giving you all these things to show you that they love you in your relationship, and you playing, leave the relationship, baby. Because I would hate to have to see or hear that another person is in a domestic situation, or another person has been shot and all of that, because that's happening. They killing their families, they killing their children because the parent, the person, they don't want to leave that person alone. And those red flags did not just get there before just then. They came more times than none before the children even came in the picture. Y'all, we got to stop ignoring that stuff. We got to stop ignoring that stuff. We have to. Y'all lives got to be worth it. So the key takeaways: unconditional implies certainty, stability, and no prerequisites. You don't have to give me all this money for me to love you. You don't got to give me all that money for me to love you. Heard that girl? She said you don't got to give her all that money for to love you. Now, the money is going to be nice to have in the relationship, but you ain't got to buy somebody love. Because then if you're doing that in the beginning, you're going to be doing that throughout the whole relationship, constantly buying love. So if that's your choice, just make sure you're ready to continue doing that in your relationship. That just might be how you love. Key takeaways: conditional implies dependency, requirements, or limitations. Understanding the distinction helps in communication, decision-making, and evaluating offers, commitments, or relationships. Who you're dealing with, how you deal with them, all of that is going to have a great impact on how you communicate. So knowing the difference in the distinction of these two are going to definitely improve your communication skills. And by recognizing whether a situation, a statement, or a relationship is conditional or unconditional, you can better anticipate outcomes and manage expectations effectively. All right. So again, as the quote of the day stated, integrity is not a conditional word. It doesn't blow in the wind or change with the weather. And neither does unconditional love. Neither does unconditional commitment. Neither does unconditional support. All of those things have a continuance. They don't waver. So thank y'all for tuning in today. I just want to do a quick show with y'all because I'm on vacation. So I just want to tap in, give y'all a little bit of me, and let y'all continue to enjoy y'all evening. Do just that. Y'all have a great rest of the week and a great rest of the evening. Peace.
6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered because the queen get it off. Unity is for the black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, her role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.